We were just talking there, you know, this is when you feel like you're in heaven.
Pa smo razgovarali da se osjećamo kao da smo na nebu.
It also helped that my wife keeps singing that song as well with the full orchestra playback CD, so I knew the words.
Ja sam znao riječi ove pjesme jer moja žena pjeva također ovu pjesmu sa cijelim orkestrom.
And I was singing in my heart all of everything what was going on. It was
I ja sam u svom srcu pjevao sve ovo što su oni također pjevali.
Agape is a gift of love.
Agape je dar ljubavi.
True love.
Iskrene, prave ljubavi.
For the communities, for the Croatian and for everybody in this country.
Za zajednicu, za Hrvatsku, za sve u ovoj zemlji.
And I really always, you know, my heart joys when I hear music.
Moje srce je radosno kada čujem glazbu.
Every time when I visit local churches.
Svaki puta kada posjećujem lokalne crkve.
In the car I always have my trumpet with me.
Uvijek u autu imam trubu.
So I just take the trumpet and I join in to play the hymns
Tako da ja ponesem trubu i uključim se kada pjevamo himne u crkvi.
And so I always want to contribute.
Uvijek volim doprinijeti u bogoslužju.
And I love it when I'm here. I can actually sing in Croatian words.
I volim kada sam ovdje i uvijek pokušavam pjevati hrvatske riječi.
So I feel I can join in really easily.
Tako da osjećam da se vrlo lako pridružim vama.
Today we heard a story about how we have a chance of being in fire with Jesus.
Danas smo čuli priču o tome kako imamo priliku biti gorjeti za Isusa.
And this time I'm going to talk about young people.
I ovaj put ću govoriti o mladim ljudima.
Who just completely fallen in love with Christ.
Koji su se u potpunosti zaljubili u Krista.
And how they changed the whole church in Finland.
I kako su oni promijenili cijelu crkvu u Finskoj.
And it's only taken last 4 years to do it.
I samo im je trebalo 4 godine da to učine.
And these guys, these young people, they've been all over, you know, talking about, you know, how God is changing their lives and sharing the Christ and sharing how they are witnessing their life every week and every day.
Ovi mladi ljudi su i onda kasnije putovali posvuda i govorili kako Bog djeluje kroz njih i kako ih blagoslovlja svakog vikenda.
So what happened some years ago, you know, was something crazy.
Što se dogodilo prije nekoliko godina?
It was actually the current youth director, my colleague Jani, who said that, you know, there was a message coming from Slatko and some others saying that you haven't used the global mission money from what the TD is providing.
Znači, voditelj mladih kod nas u konferenciji, mi smo razgovarali i došla je vijest da moramo iskoristiti novac za globalnu misiju koju smo imali.
So he said to me, can we think of something that we could do?
I on je rekao, možemo li smisliti nešto što možemo napraviti s tim novcem?
I have been a church planter pretty much right from the beginning when I became a pastor.
Ja sam bio u službi osnivanja novih crkava od kad sam postao pastor.
So when I came to do the internship in downtown Helsinki,
kada sam bio pripravnik u donjem gradu Helsinkiju,
I was given an experienced pastor who said, you know, he would help me.
Dali su mi jednog iskusnijeg pastora s kojim rekli su mi on će mi pomoći.
I never saw this man really.
Ja ga nikad nisam vidio.
Then they gave me another guy from
Onda
the conference, so maybe that pastor can help you to
drugog pastora iz konferencija, možda ti on može pomoći da na nečem radiš.
I saw him twice.
Njega sam vidio 2 puta.
And I said to the conference, don't send anybody.
I onda sam rekao konferenciji, više mi nikog ne šaljite.
Let me just invite all the pastors who are in the neighborhood.
Ja ću pozvati sve pastore koji su u tom području.
And I said, we're going to gather together every week.
I rekao sam, mi ćemo se sastati svakoga tjedna.
Every Tuesday is a pastors meeting in downtown Helsinki.
Svakog utorka imat ćemo pastorski sastanak u Helsinkiju.
So we come together at 10 o'clock.
U 10 sati se sastanemo.
And we share life.
I mi dijelimo iskustva života.
I was the intern pastor.
Ja sam bio pastor pripravnik.
Who took over all the ministry and said, now we're going to share life together.
Ja sam kao pripravnik preuzeo tu službu i rekao, sada mi dijelimo naše živote.
And I said, you are the ones I'm going to learn from you.
I ja sam njima rekao,
learn together.
Neću ja samo učiti od vas, mi ćemo učiti zajedno.
And I tell you, this pastors team have been meeting for the last 28 years.
I reći ću vam, ovaj pastorski tim se već sastaje posljednjih 28 godina.
People have been changing in the team.
Ljudi se mijenjaju u ovome timu.
But we kept it as a habit that we need to come together to support the ministry that we do together.
I bez obzira na promjene da je netko došao i otišao, svejedno smo se sastajali da bismo podupirali službu jedno drugih.
And it was right from the beginning that I started thinking planting churches.
I od samog početka sam razmišljao o osnivanju crkava.
And that old downtown Helsinki Adventist church, we turned it into a planting church, a mother church.
Mi smo tu crkvu u Donjem gradu u Helsinkiju pretvorili u crkvu koja osniva nove crkve ili crkva majka.
And we given birth to 5 churches
I mi
during these
smo
times.
rodili 5 crkava u to vrijeme.
And I told this mother church again.
I ja sam rekao toj majci crkvi
4 years ago.
prije 4 godine.
I think you need to become pregnant again.
Mislim da opet trebaš biti trudna.
And they was like no, not again.
Oni su rekli, joj, ne opet.
We're going to lose another, our best people.
Opet ćemo izgubiti naše najbolje ljude.
And because they knew that happened before as well.
Jer su znali, to se već prije dogodilo.
First we lost all the international people.
Prvo smo izgubili sve ljude iz međunarodne, iz drugih država.
The Filipinos, the Africans.
Filipince, Afrikance.
We lost all the Russian and the Ukrainians because we planted a church with them.
Onda smo osnovali rusku i ukrajinsku crkvu, pa su oni svi otišli.
Then we planted another church in a neighboring city. We lost some people there.
Onda smo osnovali crkvu u drugom gradu, tamo su otišli neki ljudi.
But I told the local church, count your members.
Ali onda sam rekao lokalnoj crkvi, prebrojite svoje članove.
How many members did you have when we started planting churches in the beginning?
Koliko članova ste imali kada smo počeli sa osnivanjem crkava na početku?
In the books.
U knjigama.
They had 50 people attending the
Imali
church.
su 50 ljudi koji su dolazili.
But in the books they had 350 people.
Ali u knjigama su imali 350.
It was an old, very first Seventh Adventist church in Finland.
To je bila prva adventistička crkva u Finskoj.
And they put me to be the pastor of that church.
I mene su stavili da budem tamo pastor.
I'm still there after 28 years.
Još uvijek tamo nakon 28 godina.
Honestly, I'm one of those weird people. I never moved from the area.
Ja sam jedan od onih čudnih ljudi, nikad se nisam odselio.
I've just been planting new churches in the area and the district all the time.
Ja sam samo osnivao nove crkve u tom području.
Of course, they made me to be the union president in between, which was a silly thing to do.
Naravno, stavili su me da budem predsjednik unije u jednom trenutku, to je bilo smiješno.
There was a crisis in the church.
Bila je kriza u crkvi.
And some pastors were misbehaving and things happening in the church.
I neki pastori koji su se malo loše ponašali.
They said, this young pastor, you need to go and sort this out.
I rekli su ovom mladom pastoru, ti trebaš ići riješiti to.
It took 8 years of my life hijacked.
To je bilo 8 godina mog života
from
otišlo
the mission
u to.
that I was supposed to be doing.
Uzelo je vrijeme od misije koju sam trebao raditi.
And now 4 years ago I told this church, no, we need to get pregnant.
I sada sam prije 4 godine rekao ovoj crkvi moramo biti trudni.
And this time you're going to lose your most active young people.
I ovaj put ćete izgubiti svoje najaktivnije mlade ljude.
And they got really scared again.
I opet su se uplašili.
Because if you're going to plant a church, you need to give your best people from your local church to plant the church.
Ako ćete osnivati novu crkvu, morate dati svoje najbolje ljude iz svoje crkve da bi osnovali novu crkvu.
And I told them, if you look at the numbers, even if we still have the same 50 people attending the church, but our membership have always kept the same.
Ako pogledate, znači članstvo, iako istih 50 ljudi dolazi od crkvu, naše članstvo u knjigama je isto.
But if you count all of the churches that you have planted, you actually have 200 active young people.
Ali ako prebrojite sve vjernike u crkvama koje ste osnovali, imate 200 aktivnih vjernika.
They are just in their new communities.
Oni su samo u svojim zajednicama.
So the youth director Jani, Slatko knows him well, said, let's put a plan together.
Tako da je vođa mladih...
Let's ask for some money from General Conference.
Vođa mladih je rekao, hajde da napravimo plan, da tražimo novac od generalne konferencije.
And I took a couple of my colleagues from pastoral work together. Let's think together.
Ja sam pozvao nekoliko pastora, hajde da razmišljamo zajedno.
And I wrote the plan, original plan.
I napisao sam plan.
Just out of my head and my experience.
Iz moje glave, iz mog iskustva, osnivanja crkava.
Planting a house church.
Osnivanje crkve u kući.
With young people.
Sa mladim ljudima.
Yes, house church.
Crkva u kući.
And
u domu.
What happened was that this was just before the COVID hit. The summer before the COVID hit.
Ovo je bilo u ljeto prije Covida.
So we decided, okay, let's do a discipleship school for 1 month just before the plant would take off.
Mi smo odlučili, hajde da imamo školu učeništva 1 mjesec prije nego što započnemo s ovim projektom.
We even decided on the name, Oikos.
Također smo odlučili dati ime
Oikos
ovom projektu Oikos.
Means family, household of faith.
Oikos znači obitelj ili kućanstvo vjere.
It relates to home.
To se veže uz ideju doma.
So I knew about this one guy, Mikael, who was just finished high school.
Ja sam poznavao jednog dečka, Mikaela, on je tek završio srednju školu.
And he had gone to Arise, Australia.
I on je otišao na program Arise u
I said to
Australiji.
Mikael, what do you think if you would came in just, and work with me on this church plant?
Ja sam rekao Mikaelu, hej, što ti misliš, hoćeš li doći i raditi sa mnom na osnivanju ove crkve?
So you're a young leader, so I'll help you, I'll coach you, I'll help you with
Ti
anything.
si mladi vođa, ja ću ti pomoći, ja ću te trenirati.
He had no pastoral experience, nothing.
On nije imao nikakvo pastorsko
Just finished
iskustvo,
high
ništa.
school and gone to Arise, Australia,
Samo
and
je
just
bio-
to learn about mission.
U Arise, Australiji, i tamo je učio o misiji.
And then I said, Mikael, first thing you do is to run the discipleship school.
Rekao sam, Mikael, prvo što ćeš napraviti je imati školu učeništva.
So we got 16 young people joining the discipleship school for 1 month.
Tako da smo 1 mjesec sa 16 mladih ljudi imali školu učeništva.
And I said to Mikael, I'll be there when you start.
I rekao sam, Mikael, ja ću biti tamo kad ti započneš.
Make a plan.
Napravi plan.
What do you think,
Što misliš?
What kind of a plan?
Kakav plan?
Figure out.
Osmisli ga.
Anything you figure out, you just write a plan.
Bilo šta, ti samo napravi plan.
This is how I work with young people.
Tako ja radim sa mladima.
I don't tell them what to do. I ask them, okay, this is a mission. Go and do and make a plan.
Ja im ne kažem šta da rade, nego im kažem ovo je misija, idi i napravi plan.
And he sent the plan to me. He's written all these ideas. He had involved some 2-3 other young adults to do the plan.
On je napravio plan, uključio još 2-3 mladih u taj pravljenje tog plana.
And I came with them for the first day.
I ja sam došao prvog dana
You're doing good.
i rekao sam, jako dobro radite.
I'm going on summer holiday.
Ja idem na godišnji.
You keep going.
Vi nastavite.
And I'll come back.
I ja ću se vratiti.
And I did.
I ja jesam.
And I tell you, they had a splendid time.
I da vam kažem, njima je bilo izvrsno.
I wasn't disturbing them.
Ja ih nisam gnjavio.
I trusted them.
Ja sam im vjerovao.
And they were on fire.
I oni su gorjeli.
And then the autumn came.
Onda je došla jesen.
And we were supposed to start Oikos.
I trebali smo započeti Oikos.
And we invited 6 young adults to be full-time volunteers for this plant.
I pozvali smo 6 mladih ljudi da budu volonteri na puno radno vrijeme u ovoj novoj crkvi.
And then we had Tina there, the second from the left.
Onda smo imali Tinu, ona je druga sa lijeve.
She's our current youth director.
Ona je trenutno naš voditelj mladih.
But she was just doing some local youth work, just learning about how to do ministry.
Ali ona je tada samo tek učila kako biti u službi u lokalnoj crkvi.
And I asked, why don't you move into the house
I ja sam joj rekao, zašto ti
Mikael and
ne
with all the
preseliš u našu kuću
and start doing mission?
i da započneš raditi misijsko
How?
djelo? Kako?
I didn't tell them what to do.
Nisam im rekao šta da rade.
I did not even show them the plan that I wrote for the general conference.
Nisam im čak ni pokazao plan koji sam napisao za generalnu konferenciju.
I said, let's sit down.
Ja sam im rekao, hajde da
Let's have a
sjednemo,
conversation.
hajmo razgovarati.
What do you dream about?
O čemu ti vi sanjate?
How would you love to see the church?
Kako biste vi voljeli vidjeti da
What
crkva
kind of
izgleda?
church would you love to be part of?
U kakvoj biste crkvi vi htjeli biti?
Who would you invite?
Koga biste pozvali?
How would you go about doing it?
Kako biste napravili vašu crkvu?
I wasn't giving them the answers.
Ja im nisam davao
I was
odgovore.
their coach, their pastor.
Ja sam bio njihov trener, njihov pastor.
My role was to keep their back,
Moja uloga je bila da im čuvam leđa,
to protect them,
da ih zaštitim.
so that nobody comes and destroys their ministry, what
Tako da
they're doing.
nitko ne dođe i ne uništi njihovu
Not the
službu.
old church members,
Ne stari vjernici,
not any other pastors,
ne drugi pastori,
those who know it all,
oni koji sve znaju.
but I was there to protect them
A ja sam bio tamo da ih zaštitim.
so that they can get creative.
Tako da oni mogu biti kreativni.
And I said, your first thing is to go on your knees
Prvo stvar koju morate napraviti je kleknuti na koljena.
and pray like you never prayed before.
I moliti se kao što se nikad prije niste molili.
Every day,
Svakog dana.
spend 1 hour
Svakog dana jedan
reading the
sat.
Bible and just praying.
Čitajte Bibliju i molite se.
This is your first priority.
Ovo je vaš prvi prioritet.
Second priority is the people that God is going to send you.
Drugi prioritet su ljudi koji će vam Bog poslati.
And you'll be surprised that who actually God is going to send to you.
I iznenadit ćete se kada vidite koga će vam Bog poslati.
So we hired this house from the local neighborhood.
Tako da smo mi iznajmili ovu kuću u lokalnom susjedstvu.
From the open market we said, okay, there's an interesting big bungalow. Let's pay for that, and we paid like 2,000 euros a month.
Mi smo našli tu kuću za iznajmljivanje i rekli smo, hajde, iznajmit ćemo tu kuću 2,000 eura mjesečno.
And these guys moved in.
I ovi su se mladi uselili u tu kuću.
They were scared.
Oni su se bojali.
What's going to happen?
Što će biti?
So the next day,
sljedećeg dana,
the guy who is on the top right, on the right there.
Ovaj dečko koji je gore desno.
Jetro. He's a plumber by training.
On je vodoinstalater.
And he was traveling on the train. The night he was just coming, going on, moved into the house.
On je putovao vlakom tog dana kada se selio u tu kuću.
And there was a girl in that train with a guitar.
I bila je jedna djevojka sa gitarom u tom vlaku.
And he said to the girl, obviously you might play some guitar.
On je rekao toj djevojci, ti sviraš gitaru.
Where are you going?
Gdje ideš?
I'm just coming, going home.
Ja idem doma.
I just live around here.
Tu živim blizu.
Oh, you're just passing by, we just moved into this house.
Mi smo se sad baš uselili u ovu kuću.
You want to come in just to say hi?
Želiš li doći da se upoznaš s nama?
It's a bunch of young people we moved in, and we don't know exactly what we're doing, but we're doing some youth work.
Mi radimo nešto za mlade, ne znamo točno šta radimo, ali hoćeš doći.
And she came in.
I ona je došla.
And you know what? This lady, this Linda.
I znate šta, ova djevojka Linda?
She's a teacher by training.
Ona je učiteljica.
She's now one of us.
Ona je sad jedna od nas.
And you will hear in the next video.
I vidjet ćete u videu koji će biti.
She'll be the first one telling a little bit about her story.
Ona će biti prva.
Then there will be other stories. But let's listen to the video first.
Koja će pričati svoju priču. Pogledajmo video.
So the first time I walked in
Prvi put kada sam ušla u Oikos,
I had been actually looking for a community.
Tražila sam zajednicu.
Quite a long time
Već je duže vremena sam tražila mjesto gdje mogu pripadati, gdje mogu služiti, gdje mogu naći prijatelje.
And so far,
do tog trenutka nije ništa funkcioniralo baš za mene. Ali kada sam došla u Oikos, odmah sam osjetila ovu atmosferu. Uspjela sam se povezati sa ljudima.
From the very early
od samog
beginning,
početka oni su mi prilika da služim i da gradim zajednicu i da budem aktivan dio te zajednice. I za mene to je bila velika stvar. Tako da sam ja ostala i osjećala sam se da ovo je sada moj dom. Nakon 3 godine aktivnog sudjelovanja u Oikosu, ja sam se uselila i počela sam voditi tim u 3. godini Oikosa. I da, bila sam dio gradnje zajednice koja je meni tako služila i htjela sam vratiti zajednici natrag. I da, bilo je odlično. Imam puno novih prijatelja i predivno je vidjeti te ljude koji su u sličnim situacijama kao ja, koji su tražili zajednicu, koji se osjećaju možda malo kao outsideri ili usamljeni. Oni dolaze u Oikos i nalaze svoje mjesto. Jedan od važnijih dijelova Oikosa je također da mi se zabavljamo zajedno, ali mi također dosežemo druge ljude. Redovno idemo u Helsinki grad, mi dosežemo ljude, mi se susrećemo sa njima, razgovaramo sa njima, dijelimo evanđelje. Također želimo stvoriti prijateljstva. I naravno mi ih pozivamo u Oikos, da nas oni još više upoznaju, da također upoznaju Boga. Oikos je dio 1 godine u misiji, to je urbana crkva koja je lokalno osnovana u metropolskom dio Helsinkiju. Naša crkva se sastaje u kući i kuća se zove Oikos kuća. Oikos kuća je dom za i zadnje 3 godine se događala i počinje nam sada 4. godina. Zašto Oikos? Jer svakoga tjedna mi slušamo predivna iskustva, kako se ljudi mijenjaju i svakog tjedna imamo nove ljude i koji nas posjećuju i koji žele doživjeti crkvu kao zajednicu. Blagoslov je biti u ovim razgovorima i dati nove ideje za um i za dušu. Zašto zbog ljudi? Zato što je Sveti Duh ovdje. Zato što je Sveti Duh ovdje. Mislim da je Oikos jedino mjesto gdje se zapravo mogu upoznati sa ljudima i očekivati od mladih ljudi da se prilagode crkvu umjesto da se Oikos prilagođava suprotno. Ljudi male grupe. Zato što je ovo moja obitelj. Zašto Oikos kuća? Jer ovdje dolazimo zajedno, dijelimo našu vjeru i naše živote zajedno, imamo priliku da rastemo bliže Isusu. I zato što se puno zabavljamo. Prije 3 godine ja sam došla u ovu kuću kao nevjernica i 4. godine sada postajem sljedeći vođa. Ja ću to učiniti jer sam se krstila ovdje i želim dati natrag zajednice koja je promijenila moj život. Zato što je to opušteno zajednica gdje možemo dijeliti život i sa drugim ljudima i drugim vjernicima. Zato što se Oikos od prvog dana sam osjećala kao da je dom i ljudi su prijateljski nastrojeni i otvoreni i osjećate se kao da znate ove ljude vrlo dugo. Iako zapravo ih ne znate. Zašto Oikos? Oikos je obitelj, Oikos je ljubav, Oikos je sve što mlada osoba treba, zato što Isus živi tamo. Oikos je dobro mjesto ili ispravno mjesto gdje možemo biti kršćani jer je više kao obitelj, više kao mala grupa i više otvoreno i puno ljubavi. To je ključno iskustvo u kršćanskom životu. Ja idem u Oikos jer je tamo puno ljudi s kojima mogu raspravljati i mogu bolje upoznati Boga. I osjećam se kao da sam doma. Imam obitelj, malo jedemo, ima hrane, ima dobro društvo, mogu rasti u svojoj vjeri.
You know, Linda, the girl I was, interviewed.
Linda, ona djevojka kojoj sam govorio.
I had the honor of marrying her 2 weeks ago.
Prije 2 tjedna imao sam čast vjenčati ju sa jednim od Oikos ljudi.
Yes. And then there was Katarina, the other young girl who said that, she came to Oikos 3 years ago.
I onda je bila Katalina, jedna druga mlada djevojka koja je prije 3 godine došla u Oikos.
She was baptized during the first year of Oikos.
Ona je u prvoj godini Oikosa bila krštena.
She's now the current leader of Oikos.
I sada je trenutni vođa Oikosa zajedno sa Lindom.
And I got the honor of marrying her next summer.
I sljedeće ljeto ću i nju vjenčati.
With one of the new Oikos people once again.
Novih Oikos ljudi koji je došao.
That's all I get to do.
Ja to samo radim.
I don't run any of this stuff.
Ja ništa ovo ne vodim.
I don't own any of what they do.
Ja se ne uključujem u ono što oni rade.
But I get to marry them.
Ali ja ih vjenčavam.
I love it. So we had the first year and the second year.
Ovo je prva godina, pa druga godina.
And the third year.
Treća godina.
And we just finished the 4th year.
I sada završavamo 4. godinu.
It's become a family.
To je postala obitelj.
And everybody knows about this family in the neighborhood.
I svi znaju u susjedstvu o toj obitelji.
People talk about their family.
Ljudi razgovaraju o svojoj obitelji.
We were worried first, what's going to happen in this neighborhood because on Sabbath so many people are coming to this house.
Mi smo se brinuli što će se dogoditi u tom susjedstvu.
Are they having parties?
Hrpa mladih dolaze u tu kuću.
Crazy young people coming in, parking the cars and...
ludi mladi ljudi možda će imati zabave i tulume i tako.
I tell you, we were worried.
Mi smo se brinuli.
In the beginning. And you know what happened?
Znate li što se dogodilo?
During the first year.
Tokom prve godine.
In the house in front of the Oikos house.
U kući ispred Oikos kuće.
There were some really lovely neighbors.
Jako dragi susjedi.
One night or day.
Jedan dan.
Somebody came in a robber.
Netko je došao da opljačka tu kuću.
Came into their house and stole the house keys and car keys and stole their car and many other things.
Znači ušao je, opljačkao je te susjede, uzeo je ključ od auta, od kuće, uzeo im je auto i tako.
And the whole neighborhood got scared.
I cijelo susjedstvo se uplašilo. Šta se događa?
Is it these young people?
Jesu li to ovi mladi
bringing all these people there?
koji dovode ove sve ljude tu?
You know what these young people did?
Znate li što su ovi mladi
They
ljudi
went to this
napravili?
family and said, you know, we're going to be with you. We're going to support you.
Rekli su, idemo kod susjeda, mi ćemo biti s
The
vama, mi
husband
ćemo vas
was away, so said, we're going to stay the night with you, with your son, and we're going to bring one of the neighbor's dogs, bring one big German shepherd, you know, to the house.
Mi ćemo biti s vama ovdje preko noći, neko će tu biti, dovest ćemo psa od susjeda, njemačkog ovčara.
Because the robber had the keys to
Jer
the
je
house.
taj lopov imao ključeve od njihove
And I
kuće.
tell you, these young people, they were on their knees praying.
I ti mladi ljudi su bili na koljenima
God, you
i
need to do
molili su
something
se,
about it.
Bože, moraš učiniti nešto.
And they prayed like night.
I molili su se cijelu noć.
The next day comes.
Sljedećeg dana dođe,
The police calls the family, the lady
policija
at the
zove tu
house.
obitelj.
That there is this robber, you know, who gave us a call.
Zvao nas je neki lopov.
Said that, you know, felt sorry and repented and said that we want to, you know, the car is, everything is there. Everything, he hasn't stolen anything. Just go and get it.
Znači, lopov je zvao policiju i pokajao se i rekao, meni jako žao, ja imam ovaj auto i ključeve i sve, evo, nosite.
I never heard a story of somebody just repenting and say,
Nikad
let's
nisam
give you all
čuo
back everything there.
priču da se lopov pokajao i sve vratio.
And there was later on the landlord who owns the Oikos house.
I gazda koji je vlasnik te Oikos kuće,
He called the owner of in the house in the front.
on je pozvao vlasnika tog susjeda.
Are they okay, these young people?
Jesu li dobri ti mladi ljudi?
Yeah, everybody loves them in the neighborhood.
Da, svi ih volimo u susjedstvu.
We all love them.
Svi ih volimo.
So, you can have an impact as a family if you want to.
Kao obitelj možete imati utjecaj.
And when they started doing, one of the first things was that they started just praying and inviting their friends to a home church in the Sabbath afternoon at 2:00.
Oni su počeli tako što su pozvali svoje prijatelje u subotom poslijepodne u 2 sata da se mole.
And I didn't tell them what to do as a church.
I nisam im rekao šta da rade kao
And I
crkva.
said, go and figure out, what do you think?
Rekao sam im, idite i smislite, što mislite vi?
And they said, well, we're just going to sing together some really nice songs,
Mi ćemo pjevati zajedno,
have a good time.
zabavljati se.
Ask somebody, one of us in the group community to talk and share their life.
Mi ćemo zamoliti nekoga od nas u zajednici da govori, da podijeli nešto iz svog života.
We are not going to invite any of the pastors to
Nećemo
preach.
zvati nikakve pastore,
We're just going to do it ourselves.
sami ćemo sve
We
napraviti.
don't know how,
Ne znamo
but
kako,
we're going to learn.
ali ćemo naučiti.
So they did.
I jesu.
And after the sermon, they said, we're going to move into groups.
I nakon propovjedi bi se razdvojili u skupine.
We don't know about Sabbath school,
Ne znamo
but what we
ništa o
can do
subotnoj
is that we're
školi,
going to have a topic, you know, somebody's going to talk,
ali ćemo imati jednu temu
and we're going to give questions.
i dat ćemo pitanja.
And we're going to discuss those questions
I
in
razgovarat
these
ćemo
small
o
groups.
tim pitanjama u ovoj maloj grupi.
You know what's the best part of the whole worship service they do?
Znate li što je najbolji dio njihovog bogoslužja?
It's the group after the sermon.
A to su grupe nakon propovjedi.
When everybody moves into the groups, in the house or outside or wherever they are,
Svako ide u svoje grupe, u kući, vani, gdje god.
that's when everybody tells, you know, what happened during last week. They
I
tell
onda
their stories.
svi se pitaju što se dogodilo tokom
How
prošlog
God
tjedna.
has been leading their life during the week.
Kako je Bog bio s vama tokom
They share
prošlog
stories
tjedna.
and witness.
Dijele
And
iskustva.
then they pray for each other.
I onda se mole jedni za druge.
And they discuss the topic that possibly was in the sermon.
I
And
onda razgovaraju o temi
they
propovjedi.
spend like 1 hour just in conversation.
I 1 sat provedu u razgovoru.
And that is when the lives change.
I u tim trenucima se životi mijenjaju.
That is when they become a home.
Tada postaje to dom.
That is when their questions are being answered.
Tada se odgovori dolaze na njihova pitanja.
And that is when they said, how can I join this
I
group?
tada
Is
se
this a church or what? I don't
oni
know.
postavljaju pitanje kako se ja ovdje mogu pridružiti. Je li ovo crkva ili ne, ja ne znam.
We don't have to make appeals for baptism.
Mi ovdje ne moramo imati
We
nekakve
never do
pozive
that.
za krštenje. Nikad nemamo.
We only invite them to a baptism just to see what is
Mi ih samo
baptism.
pozovemo na krštenje da oni vide šta je to
And when
krštenje.
they see this baptism happen,
I kada vide šta je krštenje,
some of these people say, I want to be next.
i mladi ljudi kažu ja želim biti sljedeći.
I want to be next.
Ja želim biti sljedeći.
And like I said, the first priority is prayer.
Prvi prioritet je molitva.
That's where you learn the values.
Tada učite
That's where
vrijednosti.
you learn how to love Christ.
Učite kako voljeti Krista.
That's where you learn how to depend on Christ.
Učite kako ovisiti o Kristu.
That's where you learn that if you don't have the answers, I'm just going to pray hard.
Učite-
Because Atte is not going to give me the answers
Učite
anyway.
to da ako nemate odgovore da se morate više moliti jer vam Ate onako neće dati odgovore.
That's what I learned as a coach.
To sam ja naučio kao trener. Ja im ne dajem odgovore, oni moraju smisliti.
The pressure is not on me as a pastor, as a leader.
Pritisak nije na meni kao pastoru, kao vođi.
The pressure is on them as a team.
Pritisak je na njima kao timu.
If something is going to happen, it's happening because of them, not because of me.
Ako se nešto događa, događa se zbog njih, a ne zbog mene.
But I keep their back.
Ali ja im čuvam leđa.
So they start these small groups.
Oni započinju male grupe.
And they do them during the week as well.
I oni to imaju i tokom tjedna.
That is when they start learning about Bible.
Tada oni uče o Bibliji.
That's where they have the Bible studies.
Tada imaju proučavanja.
That's where they go deep into their questions.
Tada duboko ulaze u njihova pitanja.
And they have groups in English and in Finnish.
Imaju grupe na engleskom, na finskom.
And they bring their friends.
Pozovu prijatelje.
But first they bring their friend to the home church.
Ali prvo ih dovedu u kućnu crkvu.
Why?
Zašto?
Because they would never bring their friend to a normal church.
Jer nikada ne bi svoje prijatelje dobili u normalnu crkvu.
But they would bring somebody because it's their home.
Ali dovedu njih u ovu kuću jer je to njihov dom.
It has already become their family.
To je već postala njihova obitelj.
So it's very easy to invite anybody.
Tako da je vrlo jednostavno pozvati nekoga.
And that is why they have every single Sabbath there is one new person in this community.
I zato skoro svake subote imaju jednu novu osobu iz zajednice.
They've had about 400 people go through that community already. In their WhatsApp group there is 150 people in their community right now.
Oni kroz njihovu skupinu je prošlo 400 mladih ljudi iz zajednice i trenutno u njihovu WhatsApp grupi je 150 ljudi.
Last Sabbath when I visited there, because it's only 5 minutes where I live.
Prošle subote kada sam bio tamo, jer je to samo 5 minuta od moje kuće.
I went after the church just to see how they're doing.
Crkve da vidim kako im je.
There were 60 young adults in that community.
Bilo je 60 mladih ljudi na bogoslužju.
In that one small house.
U toj maloj kući.
They were crowded.
Bila je velika gužva.
It was completely cramped, you know.
U potpunosti nije bilo mjesta.
And they ate together. Every Sabbath they eat together.
I svake subote oni jedu zajedno.
So, it's all about planting and discipling authentic and loving community.
Znači osnivanje zajednica koje se zasnivaju na učeništvu, na autentičnim odnosima i na ljubavi.
And we say it's never about numbers.
I nikad nije stvar brojeva.
We never talk about numbers, we just say it's about people.
I mi nikad ne razgovaramo o brojevima, mi samo govorimo o ljudima koje želimo doseći.
Hear their story.
Da čujemo njihove priče.
Love them.
Da ih ljubimo.
Pray with them.
Da se molimo s njima.
Pray for them.
Da se molimo za njih.
Give them a call back.
Da ih zovemo kako ti je.
Keep in touch with every single person.
Ostajemo u kontaktu s ljudima.
And then we invite, some of the people, we invite them to the game nights.
Onda ih pozovemo na društvene večeri za igre.
You don't have to do this.
Ne morate
ovo
raditi, nije ključno.
But they love having fun together.
Ali oni uživaju u
zajedništvu.
zajedništvu.
So on Thursday evenings they invite some of their friends that they would not dare to invite to the church.
Znači, četvrtkom pozovu neke prijatelje koje možda ne bi pozvali u crkvu.
But you can come and play board games.
Dođite i igrajte s nama društvene igre.
Or join us when we go to do some hiking or gyms or some activities.
Ili idete s nama u teretanu ili nekakvu aktivnost.
So they work as a community all through the week.
Tako da rade kao zajednica.
Doing fun stuff.
Cijeli tjedan rade zabavne stvari.
Nature walks.
Idu u prirodu.
They go for weekend retreats.
Idu na vikend negdje.
And in this, they're actually on a frozen lake, sleeping there for the night.
Spavaju na zamrznutom jezeru.
And it's wonderful. You can come to Finland any winter and you can experience that. It works.
To funkcionira, može se.
And then you heard Linda saying that they do evangelism.
I čuli ste kako Linda kaže oni također
they go out into the streets.
Evangelizaciju, idu na ulice.
What they do?
I šta rade?
They don't share literature.
Oni ne dijele literaturu.
It's available.
To je dostupno.
They don't go and push people with their ideas.
Oni ne nameću svoje ideje.
But they do something creative.
Ali rade nešto kreativno.
Something creative like this. They
kao ovo, na primjer.
This was Halloween and they brought this coffin there.
Ovo je bilo za noć vještica, donijeli su jedan ljes.
And they said, okay, you can come and try.
I rekli su ljudima, ajde, probajte.
What it is to go and sleep in a coffin.
Lezite u ljes.
And then they have somebody sleeping there with the white thing on their...
I neko je tamo ležao sa bijelim na sebi.
And they put these white masks.
Stavili su ove bijele maske.
And it says, what next?
I rekli su, šta je sljedeće?
What happens after death?
Što se događa nakon smrti?
And people are curious.
I ljudi su znatiželjni.
And they may come and ask questions.
I oni dolaze i pitaju pitanja.
And then they go to them and they start sharing.
I oni dođu tamo i
What do
oni
you think?
počnu dijeliti. Šta vi mislite?
What do you think happens after
Što vi
that?
mislite da se događa nakon smrti?
And that is when the total strangers open up.
I tada potpuni stranci se otvore.
With their life, with their questions.
Sa svojim životom, svojim pitanjima.
And after this conversation,
I
when they're
nakon
building
ovih
trust,
razgovora, kada izgrade povjerenje,
if you want to come and know more about it, we have this group meeting once a week.
ako želite
Join
saznati
us.
više, dođite na naš sastanak jednom tjedno.
And I tell you, I don't know how many people we have got to come to some of our events because of these gatherings, what they do.
Ja ni ne znam koliko ljudi je došlo na naše događaje zbog ovakvih akcija.
They come to the activities.
Oni dođu na aktivnosti.
And this man there with the Mikael is there. He's the current owner of the house in front of Oikos.
A vidite ovaj čovjek pored Mikaela, Mikael je desno, ovaj lijevo je trenutni vlasnik Oikos kuće.
You know, he's actually he got a prayer answered to him when he was searching for the house.
On je dobio odgovor na molitvu kada je tražio kuću.
And before he was searching the house, he just read, okay, there is this Oikos house. What's that?
Kada je tražio kuću, vidio je, aha, to je neka Oikos kuća.
He found it on Google.
Našao je to na Googleu.
And then he decided, I need to pray for them. I don't know what they're doing,
I onda je rekao, ja ne znam šta oni rade, ali moram se moliti za njih.
but I need to pray for them.
Ali molit ću se za njih.
And then he realized that they are a Christian group.
I onda je shvatio da su oni kršćanska grupa.
And he felt all the more reason that I need to buy the house in front.
I onda je odlučio, želim kupiti kuću preko
And this
puta.
guy runs the ministry for young children and young people for the Lutheran church
I on
in the
je
neighborhood.
Onaj koji organizira aktivnosti za djecu i mlade za luteransku crkvu u susjedstvu.
And we have partnered with this guy.
I mi smo postali partneri sa ovim
We've helped
mladim
them, they
čovjekom.
help us.
Mi njima pomognemo, oni nama pomognu.
And this guy has already said that he loves Sabbath.
I on je već rekao, ja volim subotu.
He loves everything about this community.
Volim sve o ovoj zajednici.
We invite him to preach sometimes.
Mi ga nekad pozovemo da propovjeda kod
We've had
nas.
other Lutheran preachers come from the community to come and
I druge
attend the
luteranske propovjednike smo pozvali da dođu i da budu u našoj crkvi.
because they feel authentic community which they never experienced in any of the other
Jer
churches.
oni
that
tamo
they've been doing.
osjećaju autentičnu zajednicu koju nikad nisu osjetili u svojoj
So
crkvi.
that's his house in front.
To je njegova kuća od tog, znači,
And
luterana.
whenever we have bigger events, we use the yard of the whole houses.
Kada imamo veći događaj, koristimo dvorište i od njegove i od naše kuće.
And this lady there who was baptized in the middle,
I ova djevojka koja se krstila u sredini,
she was the second person in the interview.
to je druga osoba koja je bila u intervju.
Katarina is from Slovakia.
Katalina iz Slovačke.
And she knew Finnish before she came to Finland. She spoke Finnish before she
Ona
moved
je
to
govorila
Finland.
finski prije nego što se doselila u
Because she had studied Finnish language at the university.
jer je studirala finski na fakultetu.
But she found Oikos community when she moved to do a project in Finland.
Ali kada je se preselila u Finsku, našla je Oikos zajednicu
And she was baptized.
i ona je bila krštena.
And she's right there.
I ona je tamo.
And who's baptizing?
I ko je krštava?
At that time, we didn't have any other elders. I was the only pastor. So I'm there in the water.
U tom trenutku nismo imali druge starješine, ja sam bio jedini pastor, tako da sam ja ušao u vodu.
But it's actually the couple who brought her to church
Ali
that are baptizing.
par koji je doveo nju u crkvu, oni ju krštavaju.
So whenever time I organize baptisms,
Kad god ja organiziram
I bring
krštenja,
those people who've been and bringing them to Christ, I bring them in the water together with me.
ja dovedem ljude koji su doveli tu osobu Kristu zajedno u vodu sa mnom.
They need to experience that God is using them.
Oni moraju doživjeti da Bog upotrebljava njih.
And it is the biggest joy anybody can be.
I to je najveća radost koju neko može imati, dovesti osobu Kristu.
And this guy came into the Oikos house about 1.5 years ago.
Ovaj dečko je došao u Oikos kuću prije oko 1.5 godina.
And he's half Thai and half Finn.
On je pola iz Tajlanda, pola je Finac.
He's got an amazing story what he could share.
On ima predivnu priču koju može
He was
podijeliti.
very close to suicide and things that were, going really badly in his life.
Kako je bio vrlo blizu tome da počini samoubojstvo, vrlo loše stvari u njegovom životu.
And he found Christ.
I on je pronašao Krista.
And you know what?
Znate li što?
He's right now at Newbold studying theology.
I sada je na Newboldu i studira teologiju.
And he's going to be one of our next pastors.
I on će biti jedan od naših sljedećih pastora.
And I'm already working with him
I
because
već radim s njim.
he's the one getting married with Katarina.
On će se vjenčati sa Katalinom.
So we have a new pastor couple coming.
Imamo novi pastorski par koji dolazi.
So I've already agreed with them that they're going to plant the next Oikos church.
I već sam se s njima dogovorio da će oni osnovati novu Oikos crkvu.
And I'm not going to wait until he finishes his degree.
Neću čekati da on završi svoj...
After a year at Newbold, because he's doing his graduate diploma, so he's got a BA with something else. So I'm saying next year, I'm hoping that next summer you'll join in our team and you start internship.
Ja ni ne čekam da on završi, nakon godinu dana već u ljeto dolaziš i počinješ pripravnički.
And you do your MA while you are working for us.
I ti ćeš raditi svoj magistarski dok radiš za nas.
And I said to him, you know, you're going to be the next planter.
Ti ćeš biti sljedeći osnivač crkava.
And what we've actually done in the whole union now with every new pastor we're going to employ,
ono što imamo u našoj uniji sa svakim pastorom koji
we
zaposlimo,
want them to plant a church first.
mi želimo da oni prvo osnuju crkvu.
What do you think?
Što mislite?
What do you think will happen with the church when
Što će se
every time
dogoditi sa crkvom?
Yes. So I'm not putting them in the old churches to learn the bad habits of the old churches.
Ja ih ne izvlačim iz starih crkava da nauče loše navike starih crkava.
But I'm helping them to learn how to build a new community.
Ja im pomažem da nauče kako izgraditi novu zajednicu.
And they are finishing their studies as they go along.
I oni završavaju svoj studij dok to čine.
We use a lot of volunteers.
Mi imamo puno
We
volontera.
train new leaders.
Mi treniramo vođe.
This is my role
I-
as a leader, is to train other leaders, equip them and let them go.
To je moja uloga kao vođe, da ja opunomoćavam vođe i da ih pustim da oni djeluju.
And people keep asking me, how can you run 5 different union departments?
I ljudi me pitaju kako ti možeš voditi 5 različitih
And at the same
odjela
time,
u
you're
Uniji
pastoring local churches
i da si pastor u crkvama
and coaching these church plants.
i da si trener u ovim novim crkvama.
But because the pressure is not on me,
Zato što pritisak nije na meni.
I'm just equipping new leaders,
Ja samo opunomoćavam nove vođe.
trusting them
Ja njima vjerujem
and making sure that they succeed.
i brinem se da oni uspiju.
Because if they succeed,
Jer ako oni uspiju,
I see more people in heaven.
vidjet ćemo više ljudi
And
na
it's
nebu.
not going to happen because of me. And
To
if
se
I were
neće
doing it, I would
dogoditi
fail.
zbog mene, jer ako ja to budem radio, neću uspjeti.
So this is what we do when we're building the community.
Ovo radimo sa njima kada osnivamo zajednicu.
So the first are integrated into the heart,
Prvo integriramo to u srce,
experiencing Christ.
da doživimo Krista.
If you haven't experienced Christ,
Ako
there's no
niste-
way discipleship can follow.
Ako niste doživjeli Krista, nema načina da učeništvo slijedi.
So we need to share Christ with someone else. We need to teach each other how to share Christ with another person.
Moramo dijeliti Krista jedni s drugima, moramo učiti jedni druge kako dijeliti
So
Krista.
some of the first things I train them is during the first 2 months, let them go through a 12 weeks evangelism explosion, learning how to share Christ course.
Jedna od prvih stvari koje s njima radim je da prođemo kroz 12 tjedana evangelističkog rada, to oni zovu eksplozija evangelizma i oni imaju tečaj.
So they need to be able to share their story.
Oni moraju moći dijeliti svoju
And
priču.
they need to be able to share how I became a follower of Jesus.
Moraju moći podijeliti kako sam ja postao sljedbenik Krista.
And they need to be able to share the gospel.
I moraju moći dijeliti evanđelje.
Then we invite them to their home.
Onda ih pozovemo
House church.
u kuću, to je kuća
Then to the
crkva u
growth in a
kući,
small group.
da onda to postane integracija u malu grupu.
And somewhere along the time they come to church.
I onda neki dođu u crkvu.
And this is the process. I'm going to talk more in the
I ovo
workshop.
je proces, više ću o tome govoriti u
some
radionici.
We got some plans of starting new churches. with
Imamo i već neke planove da započnemo nove crkve.
them. So we are now searching for a new community center for Oikos.
Sad tražimo novi društveni centar za Oikos.
And how is that possible?
I kako je to moguće?
We don't have the money,
Mi nemamo novaca,
but we have one local church in Helsinki area who is kind of dying.
ali imamo jednu lokalnu crkvu u Helsinki području
They have only
koja
elderly
umire.
people attending the church,
Samo neki stari ljudi idu u crkvu,
but they have money.
ali oni imaju novaca.
And they said that we're going to trust these young people.
I oni su rekli mi ćemo vjerovati ovim
We're
mladima.
going to give all the money we have
Mi
for
ćemo
these
im-
young people to plant the church.
Dati ćemo im sve naše novce da oni osnuju crkvu.
And we will just join in whatever we like, or we will just keep to ourselves and have our own hope group.
I mi ćemo nekad doći kod njih ili nekad ćemo biti sami i imati svoju vlastitu grupu.
So the money always follows the vision.
Novac uvijek slijedi viziju.
We also learned that discipling takes time.
Također znamo da učeništvo treba vrijeme.
It's not a fancy program, but it's about prayer and connecting.
Nije stvar u nekakvom fancy programu, nego je stvar u povezivanju i građenju prijateljstava.
Building teams.
Izgradnji timova.
And that's where I come into place. I train them how to build teams.
I to je moja uloga. Ja ih treniram kako da grade timove.
That's what I've been doing for the last 15 years.
To je ono što sam ja radio zadnjih 15 godina.
Helping pastors to plant teams.
Ja sam pomagao pastorima da osnuju timove.
That's what I'm doing in January, starting with the Austrian church, Adventist church.
Ja to započinjem u siječnju sa austrijskom crkvom.
And the president said, we want to have all our pastors in your training.
I predsjednik je rekao, želim da svi naši pastori budu u tom treningu. Ne znam što će biti.
Because I'm not going to teach them.
Jer ih ja neću naučiti.
I'm not going to train them.
Ja ih neću trenirati.
But I'm going to coach them.
Ja ću ih trenirati.
And I'm going to make them feel really difficult.
Ja ću njima napraviti da to bude jako teško.
Because all my training is learning by doing.
Jer sav moj trening je učenje kroz rad.
So these 4 pastors from Austria are going to have a hard time with me.
Svi ti pastori u Austriji će proći kroz težak proces.
Because they will have a different kind of experience when you're doing training.
Jer to je teško iskustvo kada prolazite kroz trening.
And I'm going to be with them for 1.5 years, for 5 times.
Ja ću biti s njima 1.5 godinu, 5 puta.
Go through with them a relational learning process.
Proći ću s njima kroz učenje, kroz odnose.
How you build vision.
Kako gradite viziju.
How you build communities.
Kako gradite zajednice.
How you start relying on your church members to become the leaders of your future churches.
Kako se možete osloniti za svoje vjernike da postaju vođe budućih crkava.
And you as a pastor take a step back.
I da vi kao pastori koraknete iza.
And you start trusting these communities to be built.
I da počnete vjerovati tim zajednicama koje ste izgradili.
It's a new way of thinking.
To je novi način razmišljanja.
It's not the modern pastoral school that we do in our universities.
Nije moderna pastoralna škola koju imamo.
But I'll tell you, I've tested, it works.
Ali ja sam to isprobao i radi.
And these guys, they talk the same language with me nowadays.
I ovi ljudi, mi razgovaramo istim jezikom.
And they tell me they don't need me.
I oni mi kažu, mi ne trebamo. I ja sam sretan.
I just need to be there when they really have issues and problems.
Ja samo dođem tamo kada imaju probleme.
When they need to take the next step.
Kada moraju ići sljedeći korak.
When they don't have money.
Kada nemaju novaca.
And I need to start writing plans.
I ja moram praviti planove.
And it was so funny, after 4 years I read through what had happened in this oikos.
I zanimljivo je, ja sam pročitao nakon 4 godine što se dogodilo sa ovim oikosom.
And I showed them the plan that I had originally written.
I ja sam im pokazao plan koji sam ja na početku napisao.
There was a lot of similarity. Exactly the same thing had happened in the reports that I was writing originally.
Slične stvari, skoro iste su bile u izvještaju koji sam napisao u planu.
This is what you do as a pastor.
Ovo radite kao pastori.
You don't need to give the answers.
Ne morate dati odgovore.
But your thinking, your passion is there with them all the time when you are coaching them.
Ali dajete vašu strast i to je glavni dio procesa kada ih trenirate.
You don't need to give them the answers, but they start talking the same language after a while because you have spent a lot of time with them.
Ne dajete im odgovore, ali oni počinju govoriti isti jezik s vama jer ste proveli vrijeme s njima.
So I spend a lot of time. This is the training I do.
Ovo je trening koji ja radim.
This is the other training I do when I teach them how to move from programs to process.
Ovo je drugi jedan koji kada idemo od programa u proces.
From lectures to coaching.
Od lekcija u trening.
From us at the center to local leaders at the center.
Od nas u centru u lokalne vođe u centru.
From my responsibility to their ownership.
Od moje odgovornosti do njihovog, da su oni vlasnici toga.
From my idea.
Od naših ideja.
To finding their needs.
Da njihovih potreba.
And serve them through those needs.
I služenje kroz te potrebe.
That's what I'm doing because I'm also the Sabbath school director.
To radim jer sam ja također i vođa subotnje škole.
That's where I'm trying to shift the Sabbath school at the moment in the whole country.
I u cijeloj zemlji želim pomaknuti da subotnja škola.
With similar thinking, similar concept.
Mi vidimo koncept.
Running an authentic small group in the Sabbath Sabbath school.
Da imamo autentičnu malu grupu u subotnjoj
And
školi.
that Sabbath school, they can meet whenever they want to go.
I da oni mogu biti gdje god žele ići.
Because we do it usually, we do worship first and then we move into the Sabbath school.
Jer mi obično zamijenimo, prvo imamo bogoslužje, onda subotnju školu.
if the group wants to go to the park, they can go to the park and do the
Ako
Sabbath
grupa
school there.
želi ići u park i tamo imati, oni tamo idu.
And if they want to go home and invite their friends to that Sabbath school, they can go there.
Ako žele otići doma natrag i pozvati svoje prijatelje, nek idu doma.
But they learn how to run an authentic, real Sabbath school
Ali
for
oni
life.
uče kako imati autentičnu pravu subotnju školu za život.
And I got this idea from Australia.
I ova ideja mi je došla iz
And some of
Australije.
my friends started talking to me about it.
Neki prijatelji su mi o tome
And then I
rekli.
heard some others are here in Southern Europe are using the similar concept.
I onda sam čuo da neki drugi u Europi koriste ovaj
And the
koncept.
churches are growing.
I crkve rastu.
So, I'll stop here and just say,
Ovdje ću
let's
stati
continue later on. I'll continue sharing stories
i
and
nastavit ću sa pričama
want you to think bigger
kasnije. Ali razmišljajte veće,
because God is bigger.
jer Bog je veći.
I need to start trusting your young people and raising them when they are young already.
Počnite vjerovati svojim mladim ljudima i odgajati ih od kad su mladi.
And this last summer, these oikos, these young adults, they were running the teens camp this summer for the whole country.
Ovi mladi ljudi iz Ojkosa su sada prošlo ljeto vodili cijelo kampiranje za tinejdžere u cijeloj
And
zemlji.
they baptized 13 teenagers
I
this summer.
krstili su 13 tinejdžera ovo ljeto.
It's never happened before during
To
the
se
last 20 years.
nikad nije dogodilo prije u zadnjih 20 godina.
So I have seen 30 people being baptized this summer.
13
And
mladih ljudi se krstilo ovo
a lot
ljeto.
of these are coming from these young adults and these groups.
I mnogo od toga dolazi od ovih mladih iz ovih grupa.
I also run a Bible camp
Ja
every summer.
također imam biblijski kao
So in
tečaj
this
kamp.
Bible camp, I invite the whole church, bring their friends
Ja
to the Bible camp.
pozovem cijelu crkvu, pozovite svoje prijatelje na biblijski kamp.
That's the only campaign I run during the year.
To je jedina evangelizacijski program koji imam tokom
And I bring
godine.
all the pastors to do the ministry and they learn how to
Svi
witness.
pastori dođu i oni imaju određene službe i uče,
But it's problematic.
ali to je problematično.
We get some people who never heard about the church.
Jer dođu ljudi koji nisu
They're
čuli o
baptized.
crkvi.
We baptized 12 people this summer in this camp as
I mi
well.
smo prošlo ljeto krstili 12 ljudi,
But they don't have a community.
ali oni nemaju zajednicu.
But I tell you, these young people, when they first have the community,
Ali ovi mladi ljudi koji prvo imaju
they're
zajednicu,
able to keep all of those people.
oni uspijevaju zadržati sve te ljude.
And we'll just take off. This ministry and this movement is not about me.
Ovaj služba i ovaj pokret nije o
And
meni.
this methodology, they'll create something new again.
Ova metodologija, oni će osnivati nešto novo
And
ponovno.
it's okay,
I to je u redu,
because it's not about me and my ideas.
jer nije stvar u meni i mojim idejama.
So believe God will do miracles through
Tako da
your community.
vjerujte da Bog može činiti čuda kroz nas.
And I thought Finland was the most secular place.
I ja sam mislio da
The
je
most
Finska
difficult place.
najsekularnija država.
And these young people have proved me wrong.
I ovi mladi su mi dokazali da sam u krivu.
Era plena motiva
Father, you're doing so many big miracles in our lives.
Oče, ti činiš tako velika čuda u našim životima.
And we're just going to give it all to you.
I sve ti dajemo.
Sometimes it's so difficult to let go
Ponekad je tako teško pustiti.
of our own ideas, of our own passion.
Pustiti naše vlastite ideje, naše vlastite strasti.
When you are showing us a new direction.
Kada nam ti pokazuješ novi smjer.
And Lord, if we are afraid,
I Bože, ako se bojimo,
we ask you to take it away. that
molimo
fear.
te da taj strah uzmeš.
And have that courage to believe that whenever we are faced with your kingdom, we are faced with your call to bring people to you.
Da nam daš hrabrost da kada se suočimo sa tvojim kraljevstvom, kada se suočimo sa tvojim pozivom da dovedemo ljude k tebi,
And you're just going to make it very simple to us.
da ćeš to učiniti vrlo jednostavno za nas.
It's not going to be difficult.
Da to neće biti teško.
You help us to listen to your voice.
Da nam pomogneš da slušamo tvoj glas.
And as we are hearing your voice right now,
I dok slušamo tvoj glas sada,
and whatever you are calling us to do,
što god nas pozivaš da činimo,
you're also going to gift us.
da ćeš nam također dati darove.
And our step is just do it.
I naše je da to samo učinimo.
Go and do it.
Da idemo i učinimo.
Because of Jesus.
Zbog Isusa.
Because of Jesus in my life.
Zbog Isusa u mom životu.
Because Jesus in our community.
Zbog Isusa u našim zajednicama.
Because of Jesus transforming our community.
Zbog Isusa koji transformira naše zajednice.
In the name of Jesus.
U ime Isusovo molimo.
Amen.
Amen.